Yeah, let's get into this pistol round, Pronogo. I'm excited. Our first 3-mapper here.
Yeah, absolutely the case. It'll be a test of endurance for both the players and the broadcasters here, but I think everybody is up to the challenge. We got Pauly, who's been turning so many heads, not just in terms of his strat calling on the CT side in those mid-round scenarios, but also just taking heads, getting those entries on the T side. We'll see which one it is right now. He's got a kid and a smoke to his name. Rest of his team, just 4 sets of Kevlar. And we know that on Mirage, so many of these Russian teams love the 5 Kevlar buy. And that's what we see here from Forze. 5 sets of Kevlar, and they're pressuring towards mid.
Underpass, it's the clamp. Freddy Frog the first to take the approach and instantly rips Flit's face off. Didn't watch towards short, and that plays to his detriment knowing that Jerry's down below as well. You need 2 players to establish that boost if you don't want to make the Sankyus from jumping from the bench. There's one on mid, remember, as well. That was added about 1.5 years ago now. Straight into connector. This is where an awkward firefight will take place. Freddy Frog confident he's got the USPS that he can take the face. Not exactly knowing that Zorte's burrowed his way inside. This is somewhat of a bait, knowing that Jerry is playing aggressive and Freddy Frog sweeps him away as well. Support from Dennis. More frags found. An Apeks, a new leash of life. A second wind as they come through to map 3. This pistol looks convincing. They haven't even incurred a single point of damage. 35 seconds. Gruss, yes, he's got the ticket booth position. This is very powerful, knowing that Forza, they've already negotiated their way onto the B bomb site, but not for long with these USPSs holding them down.
Yeah, look at that round. Dennis coming up in the clutch. He's got himself 2 kills. Freddy with 3. Man, you saw the idea from Forza. They wanted to wrap and clamp, as you mentioned, Squid, but it was not gonna happen. No utility to stymie any peaks, and certainly no weaponry to punish. It was just the Kevlar. At that point, Apeks have your number. They've got some pistol gods on their team. And of course, early frags for them might spell an early demise for Forza. Motivation, momentum, all on their side now that they're properly in this series. That's Apeks with a 1-0 start here. And no bomb plant means no guns. Single P250 for Kenzie. Single decoy for Jerry. That's it.
One of the few times we've not seen Forza go for a force buy this series.
Yeah, if you can believe it, Forza are still even able to get some frags in a scenario like this. Kenzie with the P250 is my prime go-to. All Forza want to do is get maybe 1 or 2 frags, 3 if you're amazing. And that's about it.
Supposedly not. That P250 is going to drop. The soul investment hits the deck now. Mesa last alive. This one will be simple. Very clean stuff. Emperor 1S should be able to clean away our Mesa. It is. 1 bullet potential. Very nice from the Emperor 1S. You know that even if you miss that first shot, it's very easy to control those sprays. 2-0 Apeks, something that they haven't been able to do in the previous maps.
Yeah, it was a very rare sight to ever see Apeks take even a 2-round lead, even a 1-round lead, up until Inferno, where they were able to stretch ahead in a 16-14, as close as they come in regulation. Forza now down by 2 rounds. They will invest into this, make it a messy third, and see what their protocols really are. 2 members towards top of mid. Looks like it's anybody's guess. This is just a default, playing for info, finding Apex's sort of tactics and tendencies, where they want to go on the defensive side.
Certainly the case. Certainly also slow. Forza have been playing this style. How many early round scenarios did we see on Inferno where that clock ticked down to sub 10 seconds before they even made an attempt to plant the bomb?
Absolutely the case, and Forza are known to play it fast and loose, or perhaps slow and loose with the rules of engagement on the T side. You might be seeing Apeks get a lot of those chaotic round wins in the early stages of the game, which will fill their players with even more confidence than they must be brimming with right now. 2 members towards A for the defenders. Bomb yet to show itself. Will now at top mid.
They get aggressive. Remember, this is somewhat of a bonus, and knowing that they need to send the MP9 aggressive, that is an AK for free. Jerry wants to take it away, though. Pallet control, sneaks downwards, free frag, knows there's a second inside the ramp, and they need to contain him. Gruss with the AK here. They won't check their corners. Bomb spotted, and Zorte, such a main man, dropped. CT control now needed, and Freddy Frog doesn't have the support to trade that one out. Gruss folds in the meantime, and this whole site has been taken. The C4 can go down and away, knowing CT control, that's been salvaged, and Apeks need to maneuver in, only utilizing connector in jungle. This isn't the best vantage point. Without a flank, you can't create chaos, but Polly certainly can. Skag through the boxes, Flick gets aggressive, and Kreese even trades it back. Knowing that both of these angles is under contention, he's got the defuse kit, so not a lack of time. Still needs to move his way in quickly. AK-47 salvaged, and Flit is not the player you want to be maneuvering against in terms of these late round flanks. Quick tap forces him out. He knows exactly where Flit's playing from, and that flick is so hard to find.
Forze coming up with their first round on the back of Flit with 3 frags. Come on. That's brilliant coming out from him. The star player, realistically, now that Zorte is in for Z-Power. And of course, we see some nice play coming out from him. Kreese and Flit, the top players of respective teams, at least with those rifles, and especially in those clutch situations. I would not have it any other way coming in to that third round. Does go the way of Forza. The money is not there for a complete investment on the CT side either, which is likely the reason for this tack. We will see some investment after all. No AWP though, and that will put Freddy Frog in a tough spot with only 3,500.
We know that Polly likes to play nice and aggressive, especially on the CT side, so having the alligator in his hands, I love that little silhouette, does look like a crocodile.
Yeah, just a little bit. Teeth implied. Certainly could clamp down onto Forza. We've seen it happen before. Some success with the Mag 7 on Inferno. Got Apeks a couple of extra rounds. See if the XM can do the same.
3 AK-47s here for Forza. Not the best of buys for either team. Compromises made. No compromises.
Yeah, with
on
El
the
Mazer only on the
timeline.
Deagle, that is rough, right?
Yeah.
He's only got a single flash as well. He did get invested into the head armor, but won't do much against the sustained fire. Only one member on the B site, though, and that is Polly with that alligator, as you mentioned. This could either be a highlight reel or yet another reason to never buy a shotgun on Mirage. We'll see which it is as Forza set up to take.
Well, this is exciting. They'll play into him quickly. They need to, if they don't want to allow the rotates to come through. Remember, that can spit out bullets incredibly quickly. Has the angle, and it's a fast frag from Polly. They take a more engaged angle with the Desert Eagle to take him away, and there is no secondary defense here, so bomb goes down instantaneously. Over on short, it does get traded, a 3 versus 4 favoring Apeks. Definitely not a positional advantage, though. They'll all sandwich on to short. They've got no control elsewhere. This might be a Flit firing range, especially as that intel will be communicated. A perfect angle, a spray down for 3, and Apeks get absolutely locked up by Flit. That's why he's the star player on this team.
That's absolutely the case. I mean, come on, Apeks, all 4 of your members going up short against Flit, the master of the spray downs, 3Ks and 4Ks galore. It's 3 that time, but holy moly. Forza running away with this one already, it feels like. The momentum firmly back in their hands. The economy certainly advantaged for them. We got 5 rifles for the Russians. They're going to be bringing these Kalashnikovs in towards mid, in towards B, and see where they can do, but they're only against USPs. Not much there. Gruss had a really good idea getting that opening frag so impactful from that CT position, but ultimately couldn't parlay it into anything else. So little utility for them meant that retakes would have been totally reliant on headshots, the likes of which they could not land.
Especially when you've only got short controlled, your only advantage there is to trade off of each other. We saw nothing of the sort. Flit should have certainly been traded at least beside the bench. Not able to get 3. 70 seconds and this one already over. The pistol's not really potent. Apeks, we talk about how good they are with Desert Eagles so much. Didn't even carry that through to round number 5. Instead now, stuck inside the underpass where they'll line up for Flit once again. They seem to be making this quite the routine.
Yeah, Flit will take those every day of the week. Not like he needs any more confidence. Currently on 8 frags, and we're only going into round number 6, remember? So, if you can believe it, Forza answering back with 3 in a row, stringing them together. Apeks lost their lead. Hopefully not the last time they'll have one in this series. That was the case for pretty much all of Dust 2 and almost all of Inferno. They're going to be looking to change the course of history with that AWP glass cannon for Poly. If you can believe it, it worked out splendidly on Inferno. Only good for a tag right now. That's on to Flit, though. The star player might disadvantage him in any further duels.
Luckily, they know where this glass cannon's playing from. If they can salvage that connector control, not that through the smokes they should be able to do that. Low HP and Freddy Frog converts. They should know that there's nothing coming further towards the B bomb site. As Forza make a claim Forza CT spawn, a double peek. Gross in the open gets headshot. It's Kenty to do everything, but loses a lot of health in translation. Trying to tap away onto Zorti. We've not seen him with the AWP thus far on Mirage. Able to bail towards the counter-terrorist spawn, where there is no sniper up for grabs. Low HP might want one. Instead, it's the double peek into Freddy Frog. That's his third. Helmazer in the palace. Needs to do this one single-handedly, and a fast frag might actually give him a chance against no defuse kit on Apeks. They need to play this one coordinated. He knows there's no defuse coming through. They're almost out of time, and certainly out of players, as Kriaz does not have the time.
No, he can't even recover that AWP unless by chance it gets blown towards him. Instead, it goes to CT, scattered with the winds, just like the chances for Apeks in that retake. Beautiful stuff coming up from Forza. And of course, they're up on a 2-round lead now. The one AK-47 salvaged facilitates a force if Apeks want to go into it, which it seems they've shown some interest in. MP9 on Dennis, Gruss just with the Deagle, as well as Freddy Frog. More reserved than maybe we expect, saving it for the next. 5 rifles again for Forza. Not interested in that AWP. Russian teams love the mobility. They're going to be prioritizing that instead.
That's confusing considering Zorte has been such a main man on the first 2 maps. Even on the T side, using that AWP to crowbar open bomb sites.
That's exactly what he can do as well. Remember, Squid, so many opening frags from Zorte on the T side. This time it'll be Freddy, but his position has been exposed. And if the B-Take wants to come in, rotates are a little bit away.
They are not fans of checking vans, supposedly. Don't actually spot out that Desert Eagle, but able to convert it anyway. Now they know that Desert Eagle is playing towards the central point of that bomb site as Kenty clears up the rest. 3 for him, low HP. Maybe they want to go back to the A bomb site knowing that the Deagle is here. Solitary so, they hold the angles, and that is a quick shot and gives him a chance now he spotted that bomb. Jerry, no info. Should be able to get the back lines on Freddy Frog as Heels was spotted right there. Can jump right over, spots a dome, cannot convert it, but the Desert Eagle, limited mobility means he can't find the frag.
That was so close as well. Freddy Frog answering back. He's got 8 kills to his name. Almost good for a 9th, despite the weapon disadvantage. At that range, you almost favor the Deagle in some engagements, especially when Jerry whiffs the spray. But he maintains composure and gives Forza the 5th. No bomb plant. Economy maybe a little shaky here, especially if they lose this one. But Zorte's finally on that AWP, and it's only Poly to answer back. He's been impressive on the rifles, especially on T's side. Can he do one better with the sniper? Against Zorte, I don't favor him.
That's a big impact round. 4 kills with just pistols. Exactly what the doctor ordered to limit the Forza economy here.
Yeah, and we saw Kenzie activate in that round as well. Good for 3 on the entry. Sure, every newcomer gets a little bit of support, but he's the freshest one on this roster as far as recent moves go. So him coming to life nice and early after Flit did himself, you love to see it.
Now play these narrow angles. Maneuvering in all parts of the map. You could say this is the default. They just want to challenge these rifles from afar. Zorte now knows that the AWP is towards the CT spawn, so it takes the avenue of approach, and that looked exceptionally close. I don't know how Polly's not dead.
On the back of a bit of a whiff, Freddy, advanced positioning. Flit will go down, jumping helplessly, plucked out of the sky. Oh, and it's a hold from Kriaz as well.
That's brutal. There's no way to get out of that scenario. If you're stuck on shore and don't check your corners in the apartments, they were lacking in time and lacking in that map control as well, despite setting up the default. Apeks had taken everything, and along with Polly, a first shot doesn't make any players over towards A, so they've got the whole defense to worry about. Didn't work there.
Yeah, and look at the economy as well. Forze are going to buy into this, as is their nature, but come on. This is a scrappy one. Zorte not even able to afford a deagle. He's downgraded to the Tech 9, picked up the bomb, relegated to delivery duty in the middle of the pack, likely towards this B bomb site. And that's off the back of 2 rounds with no bomb plants, even though Forza won the first. See what they can do. They're going to be changing the pace up, perhaps, a little bit faster now as the nades start to rain from the sky. Only 2 members from Apeks to receive on this B site.
This is much more default. Forza dig towards the strat book when things go wrong. Throw in those Molotovs, catches Freddy Frog off guard, and lots of damage dealt to the second. They need to rely on the retakes. The rotates. They're in towards Marketplace already, and even trading this more than evenly. Jerry, Zorte, 11 HP between them, and how do they get the bomb down, knowing that there might even be further nades on the server? We can see there isn't. They have to rely on the flashbangs, and with the barrel spotted, here comes the face! Jerry has it! Quick kill, damage dealt, and Zorte's low HP doesn't become as much of a pivot point in the latter portions of this 9th. Dennis scurries. He plays around these smokes, knowing that Gruss can actually take his back, knowing that he's on low HP. He needs to take the face. Clearing out the bench. They know that there's nobody playing fast and loose with these angles. Instead, the AK-47 can scurry around, knowing that these smokes can be a pivot point. Straight on the defuse. There's both kits inbound. Flick can't defend it as the defuse comes in. Sneaky beaky from Gruss.
That was so close as well. Flit almost had the lineup, but changed positions after the first frag. Likely thought that he got the diffuser. There's no audio cue when the diffuse cancels. You get nothing, and Apeks get the round. Forza now only 1 round up, and not looking good with that economy. Yeah, they got the bomb plant down, but they bought so heavily into the last round that now they've got a decision to make. Attack to take, and Apeks look to tie us up.
It feels like, through this entire series, that Apeks CT side, they've never had more than 3k in the bank. That's the case again here on Mirage, where the richest players, Gruss and Dennis, 18 and 1900 apiece. Krea's a bit more, over the 3,000 mark.
Only barely, though. Will mean that if Freddy drops in this round especially, and they can't recover that AWP, you likely won't be seeing that sniper back. It would have to come from Krea's dropping. And even then, lost bonus, well and truly history at this point. So Forza, if they're able to take this one off the force, set them up nicely for some future rounds. Almazer getting lasered down just a bit. Freddy, impactful, but up. Not finding a frag. Position exposed.
Those angles feel so unfair when you get tagged. Obviously, Almazer had no idea what hit him. Doesn't spot the angle, instead the AWP. Definitely in the more powerful position of the two. They can try and sandwich it, knowing that Freddy Frog probably wants to play aggressive. He does and punishes. They can't really respond off the back of this. There are 3 players towards B as a result. Apeks, they stacked well on Inferno, and they're doing it yet again against the Pistols on map number 3. They should be able to level up the scoreline here. A 5-5 certainly puts this one back in contention. Miles away from what we saw against Windstrike just the other day. That CT side looked brutal. So maybe the second half could be a bit of a difference in storylines. That's if Forza can wrap up 6, 7, or 8 at the end of this half. Orb taken away. Opportunity now for a bomb plant if they can scurry across. An Orb retrieved. That's down to Jerry, but misses a shot. He's no Zorte. Bomb to go down, and they will crunch from all angles. The Deagle, up close, needs to get the defuse in, but peeks in the meantime. Didn't feel like he had a chance. Wanted to take the risk to get the info, and that plays to his detriment. A defuse and a 5th.
Freddy Frog gets blindsided by the Tech 9 there, but that round is really all on him. Remember, Forza are so dangerous in these half buys, these force buys. I mean, it's practically in their name, and that's why it's so impactful to take 2 players and get a bomb plant down there. Sets them up nicely to get that lead back into the 11th. But Apeks, with Freddy Frog, playing so aggressively in apartments, takes the hit, and before you know it, he's already down onto the bomb site, retreated through the window. Crazy fast from him as well, and of course he's good for it, so he'll keep the op in this round. Won't be polys, Instead, Grust to take an aggressive facing, spots out Almazer, who once again gets tagged down at the beginning of the round. Less impactful this time, only to 80, but still, one bullet headshot to any M4.
Remember on ramp, those shadows favor the CT side. Always tough, definitely tricky. Minute 20.
Yeah, Forza like to slow things down, at least on Inferno. They're doing that a little bit less on Mirage. See if this is a round that looks a little bit like map 2.
When things start to go wrong for Forza, they always play these defaults. They fall back on the strat book instead of the fragging power. And it is Kenzie to open up, even more damage to try and even up and sponge away this defense. They find all 4 with only Dennis remaining. He gets spotted instantaneously. No opportunity for a surprise, but certainly one for some headshots. The swing comes through. There's the punishment for Forza as they take the lead once again.
And that looks super convincing from them as well. Until Dennis answers back with 2, it looks like it's a clean round, despite a stack from Apeks. 4 members on the CT side on A, and they still drop so quickly. Kenzie controls the spray on the first on the ticket, and from the rest, it just sets everybody up. The spacing impeccable. This is exactly what we saw in Inferno when Forza started to run away with it. Will the same happen now?
Well, they're changing up the pace, sending Kenzie towards short early, and there's no punishment coming through for Apeks. Connector controlled. They've got everything. As Kenzie wants even more into the window room, it's such a powerful pivot point, and it's along with Almazer connecting all of the shots. As long as he does that, the A-bomb site's going to open every time. That's a double defense from Apeks. That's been cracked twice. Maybe an opportunity to do something with the Desert Eagle, but towards mid, it'll only be damage, and Forza's economy is now starting to blossom off the back of surviving with 3 in the previous and likely 4 here.
It's so brilliant from Forza as well. You just played a slow round in the previous. Now in round 12, you completely blindside Apeks. Both players, that's Almazer and first Kenzie, coming in with 2 quick frags. Only 1 player falling. That's, of course, the IGL, Jerry, the space maker on this Forza roster. So, of course, the Russians take round number 7 in the board for them.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable real scoreline there. Obviously, able to trade it out at the very end.
That was scary. I thought for sure there was an AK on the cards, but, of course, a last-second frag answered back. You get nothing if you're Apeks, at least not in that previous round. Just 2 frags, no rifles saved. It'll be 2 Deagles, in fact 3. And, of course, Dennis on the P250. You expect him on the upgraded pistol, given his reputation.
You certainly do. We've seen a couple of great pistol plays out of him thus far in this series. Dust 2. Find a massive quad kill in the initial pistol. They weren't able to convert it that time. It wasn't the case here on Mirage, where they got off to a lightning fast start. Here with the pistols, it won't be very impactful, and that has been the storyline of this series. For many teams here, especially in the CIS scene, these anti-ecos very difficult to deal with, but Forza, they seem to have all of those systems well versed, and they've been taking it down the majority of the time here. 8-5.
And that must be coming from Jerry as well. I mean, if I'm expecting Apeks to get any of these Force Buy rounds, it has to be off of a misread or a gamble stack, which we did see on Inferno. That time around, it didn't matter. 4 members again towards A. Forza just walk in methodical in their execution of all the defenders. This time around, it's a gun round. Pauly back on the AWP. Glass cannon again. Second time we've seen it just in this map, just in this half.
That was a very awkward spray through the smokes there. Kenzie gets tagged up by the M3A1S. Only one of those bullets connecting. It was a headshot.
Forza going to slow this down again. Almost textbook coming out from them, but Apeks, do they have what it takes to answer back? Last time Forza did this, an easy round for them. At least it felt so. And Jerry, sure, he'll adjust. Gruss somehow falling in that scenario. Have to wonder how.
executing on these angles so beautifully. And now he's got a very powerful position right outside of the window, which does get punished, leaving Freddy Frog to deal with this stack. He's got support from the bench. That M1S is more than enough to take them away. A nade, it's misplaced. The Molotov as well will not force him out of cover, instead towards the back of this B bomb site where they can create a secondary crossfire. Lovely flash. There's no follow-up. Allows Kreese a secondary angle, only one bullet away from the quad kill.
And we've got another buy on our hands after this. So yeah, Apeks looked great on that B hold, especially Kreese, who finally springs to life. And Freddy, of course, spotting out the info for him. Super impactful when Flit flashes himself out the window. But now, in the last round of the first half, we might have a close affair of a 7-8 score line. Depends on if Forze can crack the code. They've done well to do so to get the half win, but if it's by slim margins against an underdog like Apeks, it doesn't really count. Zorte, good for one. What feels like his first op frag so far in this half.
He's only had 5 opportunities to find kills, Pronogo. That is a stark difference to what we saw happen earlier. He needs to have big impact, especially going onto the CT side. Finding even more, that AWP finally finding some successes, and another tag onto Dennis knocks him away. Flit a pre-fire, and that should be the half over. Gruss stuck inside of the marketplace, and he's gonna get sprayed away. It's 9-6 Forza. They've done just about enough here to make that a successful half.
And we favor them on the CT side, Squid. Apeks are for sure now the proper David versus Goliath matchup, and that's what they're going to have their work cut out for them going into this one. I don't favor their chances. I don't like their odds.
I don't think that they've got much of a chance in this one at all. Apeks basically reliant on this pistol round going forward to the second half. Otherwise, this could all be over incredibly quickly, and this map might look more like a Dust 2 than an Inferno.
Before we get ahead of ourselves, remember, Apeks did do the run back on Inferno. Still anybody's game, but Forza, even though it's only 3 rounds up, Apeks would have to win the pistol and convert on the subsequent 2 just to tie us up. And Forza, being so proficient with those secondary sidearms, I highly doubt Apeks are going to have just an unscathed opening 3. Almost certainly not.
It almost feels like you're playing against 2 50-50 rounds at that point. Yeah, the pistol, it can often be a coin flip, but that second round as well, that should be the freebie. Against Forza, nothing is free, especially as they play on CT.
Nothing free, and especially not a series win, but that's what Apeks are contending with. They managed to steal away Forza's map pick in a surprising comeback after being destroyed on Dust 2. Now, the pistol. Apeks, the T side. What can they get done? They've already got some utility, much more than we saw from Forza, who did drop the opening pistol. Forza on the other side. Only 1 kit purchased so far. We do have an early pause coming out here. Maybe another tech issue to sort out. Polly and Kreese, the same loadout. 2 flashes each, 1 smoke. That could mean an A hit, or it could mean a fake. See how creative Polly wants to get on this T side for Apeks.
They certainly have a game plan in mind. By the way, Polly has barely showed up to this map. We were singing his praises earlier on Dust 2, where he was actually leading the scoreboard. Here on Mirage, as push has come to shove, Forza have really worked out how he's been playing and punishing him. He was most impactful on the T side of Inferno, finding those openings along with Gruss. They have to do it again here to bring this back.
Yeah, and one of the things that you see as a symptom of a bit of a younger roster, a roster that's just been together for less time, is when you see the top of the scoreboard change location so often. Obviously, Kreese now with 15 frags and Freddy not far behind him, but in the past it was Dennis. In the past it was Pauly himself. And for that to continue to oscillate so heavily does call into question how effective your spacing is on T side and how effective your protocols are on CT side. Now we look to Forza. Flit and Kenzie have been rocks on this lineup, no matter the side. And Zorte not far behind them either, at least in the previous maps. Let's see what they want to do now. Jerry with the 2 flashes and the kit. He's going to be playing here towards this B bomb site as a matter of fact, and that is not where Apeks want to go. They've got their utility trained on A.
They want to challenge the $2 million man, Flit, playing the ticket booth. Gross is going to pour his way in. Doesn't get punished right on the approach, but Flit certainly does. That CT controlled and a USPS retrieved. The bomb can now go easily down. No way to pre-fire through these boxes, but Kenzie has an angle right over the top. Now the USPSs can come into impact, along with Zorte. We always talk about the AWPs and how powerful they are with the pistols. He does get punished by Dennis. We know how good he's with them as well. Instead, he peeks into the AWPer. It's Zorte with the angle, still within the CT spawn, back and forth between the boxes. It's Krias to try and trade it. And knowing that Zorte's remaining, he has picked up and salvaged the kit. That's not good enough. Freddy Frog ends it.
Yeah, Freddy Frog getting that last frag, and Krias with 2 in that pistol as well. Looked spectacular from Apeks. It's the gentleman's agreement we see so often on Mirage, where the CTs just decide to play retake on A, but Apeks punished them. So good from this T side, and that's the momentum they need. Remember, not out of the woods by any means. Scout onto Zorte, as well as Kevlar, means aim punch won't even be a factor for that man. Not that it could have anyway. Rest of them upgraded pistols, some utility, holds Apeks at bay towards this A-bomb site.
What a wild buy. 4 MAC-10s. They certainly want to go towards a policy of speed here towards the A-bomb site. There's no backup option. They've got nobody elsewhere. They'll just have to challenge Zorte, who misses the first shot. Maybe a bit of stage fright here in his initial matchups on Forze. Quick kill, and it's followed up by the pistols. They're stood in the open, trying to take the receiving end of these smokes, and they have done the damage, but not as much as these MAC-10s. Getting right inside the faces. Allows the bomb to go down a further time. Almay's a CZ-75. Not many bullets in the barrel for this one. And I don't think those MAC-10s are retrievable. So we'll sit inside of jungle waiting for the mistakes. They won't come through knowing that all 3 are low HP. Only Gross on 61 really leading the charge here. Between Polly and Dennis, 65. They'll just take the swing into the CT spawn. They want the info before this one even comes through. And knowing it's against a CZ-75 at long range, very unlikely he'll be able to connect the shots from that distance. Instead, is there a rifle on the floor? I'm not sure. Apeks, if they can survive with 3 here, that will bolster the money one more time as they save the only rifle on the server, that AK-47 for Polly. He'll likely be throwing that elsewhere going into round number 3 of the half.
Yeah, that was a close one. Closer than it even looked, but Flit getting super aggro, crawling across that bench position, trying to find that gap through the smoke. Gets punished from the man at triple. That will get us closer to a tie game scenario. I'm smelling Inferno, Squid. This is exactly what happened when Apeks fired back on the T side. It could happen again here, and that would be disastrous for the Russians. We only have 2 AKs yet again on the T side. However, we only have 2 pistols, 3 in fact for the CT, the defenders. What can they do with that realistically?
The one thing that you cannot allow to happen is to allow Apeks to feel confident. In a series like this, confidence is the big joint word. Knowing that if they can just rummage into these bomb sites and play their signature fast style, it was prevented on Dust 2, but here on Mirage, it's a complete reset. Practically a best of 1 with everything on the line. Remember, this is the only path to Pro League.
Zorte fancies himself a spot. He got 2 dinks, 1 frag, just with a USP against head-armored opponents. Not what you see every day. However, not good enough to finish off Gruss. And that will be a 9th on the board for Apeks. Yet another tie game. Last time we saw this, the T's were able to stretch ahead. Could we see a massive upset here in ESEA Premier?
Well, that is the big question. We know that this round was practically a guarantee anyway. They were just setting up for the exits with the Desert Eagles. With those dismantled, it all falls on Flit's USPS. Playing this one up close and personal, but maybe even fan for the MAC-10 as well. I don't imagine any kills come through in the latter portions of this one. We go into round number 19, even Stevens.
Yeah, and Flit needed to save his armor there as well. Any little bit of money you can not spend going into this round, the 4th of the second half, is huge. On the side of Apeks, they seem to be quite economically minded. pinching those pennies. Still 2 MAC-10s into this one, despite knowing it will indeed be a full investment from the CTs. Quick B-rush, plenty of noise made.
They're sending the MAC-10s in first to create the diversion. Through the nades, they know they'll be taking the flak, allowing Freddy Frog the space to find another. He finds both. There's the B-bomb site open, and Freddy Frog does everything. Zorte is held at an arm's length by the smoke grenades. Another one placed. Locks him out of the action for the bomb to go down. Needs to rely on the flank to open up this bomb site, and that might certainly happen. He falls into the open as Jerry falls to the flames. This gets chaotic. Freddy Frog with 4 right there, and Zorte might not even want to go for this one. Saving the AWP becomes the priority, as there is no way back onto this bomb site.
So explosive from Apeks, getting all of their members out and using those MAC-10s, saying, okay, we don't want these in the next. We're just going to send you in to die first. And that's what they do. But when you only lose MAC-10s and everybody else has the AKs, do you really lose that much? So much space created. Double digits for the T's, for the Swedes. The underdogs in this series have a lead in the 3rd map. And sure, Forze have the AWP on Zorte, no less. We know he can find impact, but he must. It is imperative going into this round that he gets the difference makers. Pauly back on the op on T means maybe that IGL, that coach, might have his number.
We've barely seen him step up, so putting the most expensive rifle in the server in his hands could certainly be a bit of a problem maker. For both sides, bit of a gamble. I'll send it into the pistols. Jerry, Molotov out of position. He needs to get aggressive and does. Quick shot from Pauly. Needs to trade it back. Finds a shot. And most importantly, keeps his live with the AWP alive. Into the palace, he can now backtrack. There's definitely a way out of this one towards the T-spawn. They've got very little map control elsewhere. Means that Kenzie's having the information radioed through. He hears the footsteps. But do they check the angles if they head towards the middle of the map? They need to look towards the left side. And Dennis, might fall foul to this. Instead spots a shoulder. That's the real drawback of that mid angle. It's such a slim one that if Dennis just slow peeks, he's guaranteed the frag. Often goes unchecked though, Panogo.
Absolutely the case. You're relying on Apeks making a mistake there, and they don't. Dennis gets that frag. Very impactful. 3 on 4. But the gamble might be correct. Apeks looking for a B finish. 40 seconds on the clock for them. And 2 members from the CTs are already here. 1, that's Flit. Very dangerous player, especially with a recovered AK-47.
How quickly can they get the Sorp over? He's stuck on the A-bomb site and a million miles from the action. AK-47 popping through the shots, and it's for humongous damage. Flit now needs to rely on the Deagle to get the job done. There's not a lot of time on the board, so this bomb needs to go down now. Zortia rotate. He's here speedy, and this time wants to take control through the smokes where Pauly has the angle. The coach does everything. It's 3 for him.
3 for him and a 3-round lead as well against Forza. This looks absolutely impeccable coming out from Apeks. They play the famous go A and then go B strat, and it works out for them. Look at this guy. Pauly doing it all, calling the shots and firing them off as well. Yeah, there's a pause because Forza are now staring down the barrel of so many rounds they have to win. And even then, even if they take this, Apeks have made such a convincing statement that I don't know if the Russians even have their dignity left.
I don't either. This CT side, alike to Inferno, has been tragic. Zorte hasn't had the impact, lingering on 11 kills. That's far away from the 25 plus we saw on Dust 2.
Yeah, the double up setup now looks to be Forza's answer back. But Pauly, he was doing so well in that last round, you wonder how many snipers you might need in order to answer back to him. Let's see if that is something that bears any fruit at all for the Russians. We do have plenty of angles held. Pauly can set up the tripwires in the post plants. It's all but for certain an Apeks round. They look for their 12th. Utility lined up. Finishing towards A.
And most importantly, considering Pauly had absolutely no impact in the first half, having that 5th player step up is so impactful. You know, when you close out a series, they need all 5 against Forza. We know that those teamworks, it's just so well drilled in. Up against the AWPs like Zorte, you know that he knows how to play. Quick shot, Pauly to drop. That's mid firmly controlled, but the AK-47 can creep closer and really, well, prove fruitful perhaps for Apeks. as they have already scurried this A bomb site for free. There's no information. The Kriaz has got so aggressive, and along with Dennis finding headshots, that's connector open. And maybe Forze need to take a risk to cling on to this one. An AWP in the open, and Zorte, does connect the flick. That evens up the numbers. The playing field completely level, with Dennis finding even more. That's A cracked once again, and it's all down to this CT side. It's been falling apart at the seams for Forze, and that spray through the box doesn't pay dividends. Freddy watching the flank, there's no way in for Forze. They get crunched.
And crushed as well. Apeks now up to 12. Would you have it any other way? With Forze now down in the dumps. They've got no money to invest into this round either. And Apeks, it just feels like the Swedes have the read. Pauly reinvesting, getting that AWP thrown back over to him. And that will mean that the Swedes have the lead. Not only the lead, but also favored in this. Just pistols, just a little bit of utility. That's all Forze have. Yeah, they're dangerous, but are they really? Apeks seem to differ.
We saw Apeks play against Windstrike just the other day. Their T-sides were abysmal. Here against Forze, questionably, notably, a better team. Obviously, the changes of roster have run amok, especially on the CT side, where the defense certainly hasn't been as fruitful as before. Usually it's C-Power delivering all the goods. We questioned Zorti until Dust 2 came to fruition. Certainly stepped up and put those complaints to bed.
At least on the first map. Not so on this.
Ooh. That flashbang doesn't connect. Quick kill. Kenzie able to retrieve the one and only rifle Forze have to really pose a threat here. The Desert Eagles, we know how impactful they can be, especially in the hands of Forze. This would be their 4th Eco Round victory this series. But Flick needs to connect these shots on the cross. Maybe feeling some stage fright here on map number 3. Knowing that there's so much on the line. Freddy Frog already has this bomb site. Zorte wants to take the same angle. And knowing that Pauly's got it covered, that AWP is going to sweep them away. It's the AK. Straight into jungle. There's no way back out of this one from Forze. They're playing both players CT spawn, where Freddy Frog cannot connect the shots. Instead, that gives them the approach. But with Pauly holding it down, there is no way back in. They've got all the info. They can watch this one down as 3. And with Flip falling, that is 13.
That would have been over and shut no matter what. There was a flank coming to CT. And are you really going to try to retake A when you only have a single flashbang? The elements there for Forze just didn't quite work out. And look at this as well. Now up by 4 rounds. Apeks 3 away from winning. The unthinkable is happening before our eyes, Squid. And the only thing Forze have is this AWP on Zorte. The rest of them just rifles. I say just because how impactful have they really been? Not much against Apeks.
Oh man, if there's certainly a way back in, it could look like that. Almaze have very little information to spray through the wooden railings. That apartment's kill, so impactful.
That's what they needed as well. Man advantage didn't help them last time, but okay, they're equipped this time around. Can Forze finally get double digits? Keep this game looking competitive.
Has to be off the back of these crossfires on the A-bomb site, Pronogo. Jerry and Angle. Scurrying down into dark, waiting for Apeks, who are making very little noise. No thank yous given away. This is slow. Nades right over the top. Flip with one of his own. That does negligible damage. Definitely puts Freddy Frog within 1 tap range. And Emperor 1S, if they connect 1 headshot, then this could be impactful. But the nades are actually doing the damage, forcing Jerry out and burning alive. Now the AWP has to fall away to the CT spawn to play the safety in numbers of 3 versus 3. This might give away the site, a bomb plant. One that they haven't been able to contend with. The AWP watches towards Zorte, and they have this one completely under wraps. Fast frags aren't coming through. Instead, it's Kriaz's advanced angle to find another one. Quick shot and a no-scope from Pauly. He's playing up close and personal. Wants to be the impact man. Straight towards the CT spawn. And Zorte might need to fall back. It's been chaos for Forze once again, as they have no equity in the retake. Zorte, does he know that there's somebody coming from CT? I do not think so. This AWP, a very slim chance that it survives, and the flashbang confirms it.
Absolutely nothing for Forza. Apeks now 2 rounds away from taking the 3rd map and taking the series as well. Can you believe it, Squid? We've got an upset on the cards. Match paused because what can Forza do when they get the opening kill, no retaliation even available, wallbanged through apartments, and aside from that, they don't do anything in the round.
Unreal. Unbelievable. Let's be honest, Pronogo, this looked like it was going to be a 2-0. We were going to go and have dinner early. Here, Forza have fallen apart. As soon as push came to shove, they had the lead on Inferno. They were unable to close it out. That's been a similar storyline once again, where this CT side has merited nothing.
And that's where Forza are known for finding most of their success. They don't this time around. And it's Apeks looking strong in the buys as well as the rounds. Look at this. Only an MP9, 4 Deagles. That's it for Forza. That's all they have. Yeah, they have got 3 players towards B as well, which might be where Apeks are positioning towards.
Underrated factor, Apeks have been so good with the nades. All series, since the T side of Inferno, loads of not just initial damage, but HE frags outright. It's forcing Forza into more uncomfortable positions where they can't hold the choke points close. And once again, that nade looked to rattle through for even more damage. Negligible onto Jerry. 64 points of health. As Apeks seem to want to crunch onto B. All options open, remember. They've got the middle of the map with ladder room controlled. Kriya's being the point man to hold both short, ladder, mid, connector. He's so powerful. He's got all of these angles completely held down. And Freddy Frog creating the diversion. This could certainly be the B bomb site. Looks to be. Flashes over the top. Gross to provide them. And this is where they'll swing through against the MP9. Almost a double spray away there. Quick kills, an AK retrieved, and Polly in the connector needs to keep this AWP alive. Freddy Frog's opened up the B bomb site in the meantime, but that C4 has gone awry. It's out in the open where Forza can try and hold it away. Zorte forced off the angle. He hasn't got his trusty AWP and needs to spray them blind instead.
That is incredible coming up from Zorte. Okay, give him that AWP. He's firing on all cylinders now. What an impact round from him. And yeah, Forza have double digits. Finally, it happened. But Apeks, look at their money. Plenty of stuff.
That's such a crazy scenario. Zorte has no idea what's going on. He's totally blind. He fires all 30 bullets in the barrel. Once he opens his eyes, he sees everybody's dead.
There was one flashbang on Forza when the hit came in. One. That's all they had for utility, and they still somehow denied the bomb plant, let alone a retake. Incredible stuff coming out from the CT side, finally breathing some life into this defender's advantage on Mirage. But Apeks, 4 rounds the difference maker, only 2 to win. Can they do it onto A again?
They'll play this one up close and personal. It's Jerry to receive the brunt of this firefight. Dennis gets caught pants down, and those smokes placed creates the stalemate to secure the 5 versus 4.
Where do Forze go, though? They still have 3 members towards A, but Apeks haven't budged.
That Molotov's forcing nobody out, Pronogo. Nobody stuck in Sandwich. Instead, wanting to take the peaks into Palace, where Gross can sweep them away. Evens up the numbers temporarily before Flit's able to bounce back. 3 versus 2. Krias wants to lock the angle down. A couple of shots away from an upset. An unbelievable one here in Premier. Forces Flit into the open. Quick kill, burns alive. All down to Krias. Polly's able to receive that one from the grave. How did this bomb go down? Krias without a lot of control. Instead hits a lightning fast headshot. That was a pre-fire. Tries to tap this bomb down, and Almaze with the angle spots out the feet under the boxes, and that's a headshot to convert it. AWP retrieved, bomb defused.
An 11th for Forza on the back of a miraculous round. When Flit gets that kill onto Polly, it is off the back of his huge unforced error where 2 members can't put him down before he burns alive. He was spotted out just by the barrel of the M4A1S. One of the few drawbacks of breaking that weapon in when you're just holding tight angles is that you can be seen from almost miles away compared to when you have the A4. And of course, Apeks try to punish, but it's just not successful. Now only 5 rifles for them into this one, and the op retrieved for Zorte, who has been coming back to life.
He certainly has been. Somebody who went very quiet in half one. Only 5 kills when we last mentioned his name. Now up to 16. He's got to that mark incredibly quickly. That's the overarching scoreline that Forze are looking for here. 5 in a row would secure it. Certainly possible on the CT side. Especially if you can shut down the Apeks confidence now. That'll be with the money as well. Kriaz and Dennis not allowed investments into the next if they lose it. A make or break opportunity for the Swedes. They'll push in. Flip with an angle. He'll only take damage. Quick shots. Spots out the second. That's Tetris control completely and firmly taken. Apeks not brunting their teeth like they were before with flashes over the top, but that's going to slow them further. They are stuck on Tetris with Dark completely controlled. That's an angle that they have to work with. And the smokes have completely created a stalemate on this bomb site. They'll try and jump it right through. Flit has the angle. Can actually bounce back to Dennis as well. And as it dissipates, the smoke clears 3 versus 2 with Freddy Frog low on HP and no bomb to go away. Grass 100 HP, Pronogo. And will they be expectant of Palace? C4 still hasn't gone away. They're watching temporarily, momentarily for the flank. Instead, they'll plant towards the short side. Grass has the angle. There's a nade. Oh, does the damage, but not enough. Freddy Frog just about survives. Taken down by a single bullet. All down to Gruss. Heating gets taken by the Deagle. That's unreal. The AWP to finish.
Beautiful from Forza. And Apeks certainly can't stall out now. 2 rounds away. Before Forza reached double digits at just a few rounds ago, you think Apeks are going to complete the upset. But right now, it's a topsy-turvy roller coaster, and it looks like Forza might be back in the front car, driving this one. Look at the money. Look at the buy. Apeks, 5 rifles again. Can't break out the AWP. Not on Polly and not on Freddy Frog. They are going to play towards B. First time in a while. Might catch 4's off guard. 4 members towards A.
That might actually play to their advantage, Pronogo. It means that they can speed up the pace. Dennis, quick kill. Yeah, it's unreal. As soon as they speed it up, it feels like that catches Forza off guard. Once again, it's just Dennis to roll in.
Almazer's reliable, but is he good enough to defend against this take by himself? Because his other 3 teammates in this 4-on-5 are not anywhere close.
The B bomb site has fallen so many times. They need to hold it this time. The rotate here, but they're already out. Dennis, quick shot. It's a triple kill. That's the B bomb site cracked. And through the smokes, Forza want to play it quickly. They get traded. The bomb goes down anyway. It's 15-12 Apeks as they've finally done it. 3 series points on the cards.
So impressive from Apeks. They play the numbers game. Forza were down a man. The trading favors the T's. And of course the B-bomb site comes back in the clutch for the Swedes. That's where they found their success earlier in this half. And that's where they might just finish it all. 15-12. Double ops for Forza, but look at what's supporting them. Limited utility, a Deagle, a FAMAS. What more can you ask for if you're the Swedes?
Oh, maybe not a lot with Gruss finding the headshots. That's underpass controlled, and Apeks 4 kills away from the victory. That would be a massive upset. Especially with Forza 1-0 up. Remember, they took Apex's map pick of Dust 2 before we even got really exciting in this server. Inferno was where this one thankfully heated up. Ironically so. And they might be able to finish this one off in style. Zorte, no shot, gets taken away by Creeds. That's mid-controlled. They could salvage back this AWP, but not with Polly watching the angle. Flashed off. That's the AWP retrieved. Flit has it. We don't often see him with the sniper rifle. He's a jack of all trades, but has to be a master of this one.
It has to be beautiful from him. He's got to find all the frags towards A, and Apeks are not waiting for him to get set up.
No, they're going to smoke this one off. Means that Jerry has to play an unfortunate angle right above the smokes, relying on Flit to take this ticket booth position. He'll play this one right above the action. And Apeks, they're finding all of the kills elsewhere. Only Flit remains on the A bomb site, and Double Orb's definitely not primed to go for the retake. Flit tries to rattle off the bullets through. It's inaccurately done. He falls, and it's down to Kenzie, not known as an AWPer, and only finds one before he and Forze drops. It's 16-12 Apeks as they finish this one off in style.
What a series, Squid! Not only did we go to 3 maps, but we get our first upset here at ESEA Premier. The matches we've casted have been 2-0s, dominant for the favorites. Not so this time. Apeks proving that they're worth something here. They go in with a stand-in with their coach and get it done versus one of the best teams in the league.
That is just an unbelievable result as well. We've got to be honest. I don't think anybody was favoring Apeks whatsoever coming into this one. Forze, especially going 1-0 up in dominant fashion, 16-5. I said it on the previous broadcast when they were playing against Windstrike. Apeks are incredibly hot and cold. Today they show up. It's those openings. Polly wasn't the liability that we kind of counted him out to be. And in this series, he shows up. Everybody really comes to the party. We even see some vintage Dennis showing his true colors, not just with the pistol, but in those latter rounds as well with plenty of entries.
You have to wonder if Pauly's not the MVP of this series. He didn't show up statistically in this map, at least until that ending stage where he let some of his other players take center. But honestly, considering the fact that he was not expected to frag at all, and he found impact not just in the calling, not just in the strats, and not just in the reads, but also on the server, statistically speaking, impact speaking, that is incredible. And of course, Relaxa, I guess he really could relax. Look at that. He didn't even have to show up, and they end up taking it against Forza. It's unreal and not something we ever would have expected.
No, I certainly wouldn't have expected it. Massive upset, and glad to finally have one. Our first 3 mapper, ours at least, so far in the ESEA Premier. And let's hope that that's not all of the action. We'll be back next Tuesday and Wednesday, same time, same place for more Premier action. Come check us out then, as we'll be back with more